Alright, the beginning of this song is my favorite part. Slay! Hi! Welcome! I'm so excited to have a podcast that's only about me! I made you a glass of wine. Oh, thank you. Cheers. Okay, cheers. Alright.
It's already started!
Cheers, where's your drink? I'm just looking at my notes. So we're doing a special edition of Rodeo After Hours. We've been getting some questions about rodeo, what it is, who I am, who all of us are. And we figured there'd be no better person than to bring Grace Givens, one of my very best friends, someone that I met my first year in New York City. So what? I can't even count that high, like 12 years ago, to come in and kind of ask me all the tough questions and dive into not just, my Ralph Lauren career, but a little bit further back from there. And so, Grace, thank you for joining us. I know this is outside of your comfort zone, but we're
not at all.
Excited to have not at all. We're excited to have you, and we want to get you on for a real episode. But thanks for talking about me this time.
No, always
Cheers.
happy to talk about you. Cheers. Where's my wine?
All right. Well, this feels weird.
Are you
Giving
ready?
you the control over the mic. Is that smart?
Well, probably not. But here I go.
Okay. All right.
I guess first thing, to the queen of questions, this person, Lindsay Perper. Her name is Perper. I don't know if any of you guys know that. No one calls her Lindsay.
Maybe.
So this is Perper, and she is the queen of questions, and it is now my turn to ask her all the questions.
I know. It makes me so uncomfortable.
But the one thing you said, whenever we first met, that was your first year in New York. Do you remember how we met on that girl date?
Yes. Yes.
What was it? What happened?
So one of my sorority sisters from SMU had connected us, and she'd set up a dinner for the three of us.
And she canceled.
She canceled last minute.
We didn't know each other.
Walking into Soho House, and I knew of you. You're at Vogue, and you had all these followers, and I was like, oh my gosh. And then she cancels, and I'm like, oh my God, what do I do? And then I think it was you that probably was like, well, I'm already here. Let's do it. Let's have dinner.
And I was like, we were best friends from then on.
Yeah, I think we both liked carbs a lot.
That was the one
And we
thing.
both liked macaroni and cheese and pasta.
Mashed potatoes. I think that's what we ordered for dinner.
Yeah.
So
So now we know how we know each other.
Yep, we do. So now we need to know more about you.
Okay.
And I guess let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Do you want to tell us, where'd you go to college? What did you major in?
Yeah.
I'm not did you go to college? I don't really know. I have no idea.
Yes, no, actually I did. I did a lot better in college than I did in grad school. But so I grew up in Charlotte, North Carolina. I went to SMU, and I studied finance and minored in Spanish. And I feel like SMU was a pretty
My dad always
what's
called
the
it
word?
the snobatorium.
Okay. So yeah, SMU was very transformative for me. I feel like I came into myself. My mom always calls all of her children late bloomers. So I guess I came into myself when I was 20. I took school very seriously. And yeah, that's where I went to school, and lots of entrepreneurs that you may know.
Oh, who are those entrepreneurs that I may know?
So, the founder of Crew Sunglasses.
Oh, okay. I don't know him.
And then the founder of Bumble. Do you know her?
I have met, yes.
You know her quite well.
She's a friend.
The founder of LTK.
Never met her.
And then we have the founder of a sunscreen brand called Squeeze from Florida.
Squeeze from Florida.
Squeeze straight from Florida. Shit, he's going to kill me.
Squeeze from Florida? That is an interesting name for...
I'm going to have to come, and whatever. We'll get the right name.
But you have some footsteps to follow.
Oh, yeah, big footsteps to follow.
Okay, let's see if you can do this. What internships did you have when you were in college?
Between my junior and senior year, I came up to New York. I interned, actually had 2 internships. Thank you, very little.
Okay.
One was, so I got this internship for 17 magazine. Actually, I was in editorial too once.
Ooh, 17.
Yeah. And
Do they still publish 17 magazine?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have a nightmare story that I could tell about 17. But so I was doing that half of the week. And then I also had a part-time internship at a startup company called J. Godfrey, which was a women's like contemporary brand. And I was doing more like sample organizing, sample pulls, but also doing some of the accounting. I was working closely with the CFO there. And then halfway through the summer, should I tell the nightmare story quickly?
Yeah, let's hear the nightmare story.
Okay, so this is like a Devil Wears Prada story.
Okay.
So halfway through the summer, the CFO was like, we want to hire you full time. We're laying off the woman that was kind of running PR stuff. And we're like, get you involved with the accounting. He knew I was studying finance, et cetera, et cetera. And they were going to pay me. And at this time, like it wasn't like the law that you had to pay people. Like you could get it for like a school credit or whatever. So like both of these internships were just school credit, but I don't even know if I was getting school credit. So I got this amazing opportunity, right? Like they're going to pay me. I think it was like $20 an hour or something. I don't know how much it was. And I was going to do some of the accounting, and that was the job I actually liked, instead of like being in the closet, kind of like fighting like cats over like who does this job or who answers the email to the editor or whatever.
I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, you are familiar. So I try to like find time with the woman that I was kind of interning for. And she's too busy for me. I don't think she liked me very much. And so finally, I had to write an email being like, I wanted to let you know of the circumstance that had happened. I have this amazing opportunity to go on full time at J. Godfrey. And, I'm studying finance, and this seems like this like opportunity I can't pass up. And I really wanted to talk to you about this in person. Anyway, I come into 17 the next day, and I could just feel there was a tension from the second I walk in. And she asked me into one of these corner offices. One of the editors that was way more important than her at the time was out, and she like pulled me into this office. Her name was Betsy. I wonder where Betsy is today. So Betsy pulls me into this office, and she rips me a new one. She's like, if you were an employee, you would be escorted out of this building. And I'm like 20 years old. Like I'm like shaking in my boots.
You probably deserwered it.
No, I didn't.
I don't know.
I tried to get time with her for like over a week. She wouldn't make it happen. So she's like, you weren't even.
You're strong-willed.
No, that had nothing. Like, trust me, I was a different person when I was 20. But she was like, you weren't even performing. And actually, I was going to tell you that we do a midsummer review, and you were going to get a review that basically was saying like, you're not performing. And actually, you know what? Today is your last day, and you're lucky you're not being escorted out right now. And then she runs to the closet, asks all the interns except for me.
How did I not know this story?
Oh my God, it's like a scarring story. She brings all of the interns into the closet, which I'm not invited into the closet to have this conversation, obviously.
Mean.
And like, who knows what she said, but I know it wasn't nice. And then I remember like, for some reason there was like a picnic. And then we never did this, but there was a picnic in the park, but I was trying to like see out this internship on the right foot. I went, and it was like so awkward. Anyway, I then, thank God, had the rest of the summer working at J. Godfrey. And at the end of that summer, they had offered me a role as like an associate in finance and operations. So I go back to Dallas, and I'm like so gung-ho about this internship, working in fashion, doing finance and operations. And my dad was like, hold your horses. Before you go, like do something crazy. Like, why don't you go do an internship in like real finance? And so I go back to Dallas in my senior year. I do this part-time internship the whole year working for this family firm in Dallas, and really did love that. I learned a ton. We saw all of these different funds come in and pitch these ideas to this family office. But I realized that like towards the end, like I had a job offer there too, and they probably were going to pay me a lot better than what I was getting paid at J. Godfrey. But the dresses made the numbers sing for me. And so I had to kind of follow that passion. I knew I wanted to be in New York, knew I loved fashion. And so that's how I started my career.
Like, this explains your quirky personality. You're someone who, like, we always knew you were kind of an introvert and you, like, liked the numbers, but you actually, like, really want to be extroverted and you like the fashion.
Wait, but that has nothing to do with that.
No, I think that
Where
has
are
to
you
do
getting
with your
extroverted
career.
from this?
I get extroverted from your
Me taking
maybe what you're wearing right now. I don't know.
I think actually that's like something that is actually very misunderstood about me. Like, just because I have a personality with you doesn't mean I'm like, I don't know, best friends with the whole world. Like, all right, keep going with your questions, girlfriend.
Wait, so now do we get to your next what was your next career move after Jay Godfrey?
I stayed at Jay Godfrey for like 2 years.
Yeah.
Loved Jay, loved everyone at that company. I really do think that Jay Godfrey, that experience there was, what really set me up for success at Ralph Lauren, just because I was able to wear a ton of hats.
So Ralph Lauren was your next career move.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Thank you. So I just hit myself in the face. I don't know how big these glasses were. But so I was, like, having come from corporate America, like, you kind of are in this, you get like 2 years doing this and 2 years doing this, and you're stuck in your little silos. But at Jay Godfrey, I was able to see the like financial forecasting. I was doing all of the shipping and invoicing and accounts receivable and accounts payable. And I started our social media. Can you believe that? Thinking back to like 2011, 2012, like I started a blog.
Instagram?
I made their Instagram.
Wait, that's crazy.
I know. And so like I was wearing all these hats, but
what was your first Instagram photo on your Instagram?
On my own?
Yeah.
I don't know, like something that's very poorly filtered.
Is it still there? Or is it deleted?
Yeah, it's definitely still there.
Okay.
Who deletes those?
I don't know. I know people that do.
Not me.
Okay.
If you scroll,
we're gonna have
really
to like
quick.
look back at that and figure out what that is.
Yeah, we'll find it for the pod. So Jay Godfrey, I feel like set me up for success at Ralph Lauren because I knew outside of my like bubble, I knew outside of my silo, so I knew kind of like questions to ask or how to kind of like think ahead, or thinking about even the way things were accounted for, or I don't know. But anyway, I go into Ralph Lauren in a very business planning role on the women's wholesale team. And then, I was kind of mentored. I found this mentor, maybe he found me, but Gilbert was just an amazing person that kind of took me under his wing, kind of leading all of planning for women's. And he gave me like a lot of exposure and kind of responsibility in my first role, and then promoted me into this. It was called account planner for Macy's, and Macy's was Ralph Lauren's biggest account. Like, I think we still talking in the we. That's really weird, but
I think that never goes away.
I think Ralph Lauren represented like at least 5% of the Macy's business. Yeah. So, I was very lucky to kind of jump into that role with no account planning experience, and then I kept gravitating towards products. So like there would be these like special projects that they would ask me to work on, and I just would kind of like go above and beyond and like wanting to like know more about like which styles were performing better, which now looking back is like very much like a merchandising and planning role. So when Ralph Lauren then expanded a merch planning department, I was pulled onto that. And I worked on the collection line. It doesn't really matter. But anyway, so then I spent about a year there, and then Gilbert again, he kept kind of like moving me around. And I was like, what am I like? What's that like old wives' tale where the kid's always like plugging the holes with his fingers, and like, it's like that dam, like the dam's gonna break, but like Jack or Jacques like keeps plugging the holes. So you were Jacques? I felt like I was Jacques, if that's even the right name. But then Women's Polo launched in 2015. Yeah. And they created this role.
Wait, women's polo launched?
I know, it's so crazy. Like women's polo was never in existence until 2015. It was always Blue Label Ralph Lauren. I know. It's so crazy. It's like, duh, what nothing about before 2015.
Yeah. No, you're gonna right.
So silly. Anyway, so then when that happened, they created a role that oversaw all of the account planning and the merch planning. Again, I was just kind of plugging a hole. Like they really probably only had the budget for one person, but I was like a young director who then led the planning and merch planning for women's polo, and we launched into, tons of Nordstrom, Macy's, Bloomingdale's, like kind of the whole gambit.
Well, it sounds to me like Jacques. Like Jacques was being pulled in all these different directions. Jacques.
Hopefully Jacques is the right name. I don't think Jacques, but yeah.
It goes to show if your boss at the time thought you could fill all of these roles and all of these different departments, I think that shows a lot about entrepreneurial skills and a lot about where you've headed.
I also won the Idea Lab competition.
The Idea Lab.
I won.
Was that your biggest accomplishment?
I think that is something I'm most proud of. Yeah.
Most proud of. Okay.
Yeah. So I pitched this whole idea of these brainstorm lounges that looked like Ralph's Coffee.
Yeah.
And it went through this whole process. It was like company-wide voting, and then it had to go to this like panel of executives, and then I had to pitch it to the CEO, David Lauren, and like this whole like board. I had the best presentation. I wish I could. Well, maybe I can show. I don't know if I can show it. Well, anyway, and the coolest thing was walking into 601, which is where our offices were, and seeing the brainstorm lounge. And they ended up like taking that to a bunch of different offices, and they were like very Ralph's Coffee vibe. And
that's when it clicked with you. You were like, I have ideas. I'm an entrepreneur. I can do something. I can do something greater than this.
I think that like I was a frustrated entrepreneur all the way through corporate America, and
well, let's maybe get to your TikTok. Is that when you became really frustrated when you started TikToking?
No.
Remember how weird that was?
Yeah, everyone thought I had lost my freaking mind.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they did.
Yeah, so in the middle of the pandemic, I was at home with my family in Kiowa. And I got on TikTok, and it was really like my own creative expression at the time.
She was weird, guys. It was really, really weird.
I think if anybody looked at it today,
but I like your vulnerable side. I think I really like that you showed a vulnerable side of yourself.
I think
because people are scared to do that.
I know it was weird, and it sounds like it was vulnerable, but it was the responses that I was getting from people, like new mothers, like doctors, people that were lonely during the pandemic.
Doctors.
Like everyone.
All
like
the doctors?
I swear to God. Like I'll go back to my messages. They would be like, oh my God, your TikToks are getting me through the day. You cannot stop.
Oh, I remember you telling me one story about the sweetest woman who reached out and told you.
So many. And I was getting those messages, and I was making like voiceover like videos, and a perfect example is one that I did as I was applying to business school. And it's like,
can we like mix that into the podcast? So
it's like me being like, hi, I'm Elle Woods and this is Bruiser Woods, and we're both whatever.
Wait, my favorite one was you on the drums, like in.
Yeah, I mean they were all over the place, but it was like this creative expression, and then I was then people started wanting to know what I was wearing, and so it kind of just evolved into something where I was trying to make all my TikTok shoppable, and it was taking like that whole thing of like creating a website and like bringing all my TikToks onto my website and then making all of those things shoppable ended up like burning me out. It was like not why I was doing the TikToks. And so that was the precipice of rodeo of like, wait a second, I'm not making a whole lot of money. I have like 30,000 followers. Like I'm getting like hundreds of thousands of views. And I stopped really making TikToks for the most part. But
because you went to business school. And we need to add that in, because I did think that your goal of going to business school was to like meet a guy and fall in love.
Oh.
And
Mission not accomplished.
But mission accomplished what way?
The truth, like, so all of my essays were about starting, and I had trademarked Shop My Content at the time. But we pivoted to Shop Rodeo. All of them were about like this vision for rodeo.
Before we get to rodeo,
Yes.
can I just start with my biggest question?
Okay, God.
So people keep asking me,
Oh, God.
what the hell is rodeo? And I can explain it, but like, I don't have all of the time in the day to explain it.
Oh, that many people are asking?
Well, which is a good thing because you are getting recognized and noticed. So my goal after this podcast is for everyone to know exactly what rodeo is and what it's trying to accomplish.
Yes.
So what the hell is rodeo?
Rodeo is a destination for shoppable content, and it could be brand content, it could be creator content, but it's really to create this editorial destination that allows the consumer to discover cool products, cool creative people, and cool brands. And cool can mean any kind of cool. Recycling that line from first episode. But just like to really create this stage that spotlights all of that ecosystem, because there's this organic influence that happens around these creative industries that really is not being tapped into today, because the person has a full-time job, because they're on set at a photo shoot, or because they're painting the photo or the pictures that are on my walls, or because they have started a brand, but they are these creative minds behind these really cool things, and people are very engaged with that storytelling, with that journey. And so it's really to open up their worlds in a way that they feel comfortable with, obviously, but create a new stream of revenue for them and create a cool place for their followers to explore more.
I mean, as you know, I believed in you since day one. I'm probably your number one supporter and always will be. And I knew all the answers to those questions.
I know
but
you
I
do.
just wanted you
Now you have a clip. Now you have a clip to go
tell
show
everyone
someone
else. But, my next thing, one of my biggest questions is, because I think, do you have any plans to launch an actual official rodeo app anytime soon?
Can you answer this question?
About the app? Yes, in the future.
And how long in the future? Because I know that I am waiting.
Let's just say,
and I know that a lot of other people are waiting.
Let's just say that technology, correct me if I'm wrong, technology is moving too quickly for us to rush a launch of an app right now.
Yeah. That's a fair question, fair answer.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of other features, especially with all the AI stuff going on, that we want to give people first that are truly novel before we build the app.
Aren't we like backing up from AI though? From what I've read in the news, like everyone seems like nervous about what's happening.
I have like something like I want to establish about this like backing up from AI. It is not that like we don't get all of the advancements that have happened up to today. It's like, let's put some guardrails on the AI that's here. Yeah. But it's not that like all of this amazing advancement that's happened is like not at our fingertips still.
Yeah.
And so like there's all this like the alarm. There's all this panic, but like no.
Panic. That's what that
was. But no, we have like it's really exciting what we have today to leverage.
Yeah. I think 100%. And I think like fortunate for us, the type of AI work we want to do doesn't cross as many of the ethical boundaries that a lot of these other tools do. So I think those guardrails are good, but I don't think they'll slow us down as a company.
Right.
So I assume it has not been easy to start a tech company coming from retail. And, what have been some of your biggest hurdles? What is something that you wish you would have known prior to starting rodeo that you would share with, someone, a new entrepreneur about to follow your same footsteps?
I would say, like, I didn't realize I know systems. I know kind of how information flows pretty well. I know like high level coding. And that was.
You know high level coding?
Yeah.
Since when?
I always have.
Oh, I didn't know that about you. That's weird.
I think going into starting this alone, I felt so much conviction, felt like I knew that kind of the pieces that needed to come together, the streamlining that needed to happen. I had this tacit knowledge both of like retail industry, where the margins were, how the technology could really make things streamline and create efficiencies. And I felt like I was starting a company, and everyone else, investors most importantly, would see that like I had that like in my corner. And I kept coming up against, where's the technical founder? Where's the technical person? And I'd been kind of like quarterbacking, like for the most part, PMing, like, we were working with a lot of really like expert engineers, but they didn't understand retail. They didn't understand kind of this affiliate space. And I was doing my best to like quarterback that. And, I would say that I wish I had known that how hard it was to do all of this alone. Thank God I found Sam. It was fate. It was like serendipity that I was able to find someone that like is a genius, number one, but also understood the space, was like ready to get scrappy. And like, even though she comes from, Goldman and all like the process and, the rules and, the way that you're supposed to be an engineer, she like was able to kind of like pivot and like be in startup mode and also take a chance on like little me, like coming from the retail space.
As someone
But,
who's
like,
known rodeo from the get-go.
No, but truly, like it's like you couldn't have found that except for like the conversations that we kept having, and then making that, and then someone made this introduction. But I wish I had known that like team is everything, and now I do.
You can't do it alone.
And we're building something really cool, and the only way it becomes everything that we're all dreaming of is if you have the right people here to execute. It is all about execution today. And so each person here it's like everyone's pulling their weight equally, and it's everyone's company that's like sitting around a table. And I think that I would say is the biggest lesson learned, is like how important team is.
And one thing I have to say is I know how much, of your heart and soul you've put into this business. And I've watched you every step of the way. And I have no doubt in my mind that rodeo is going to be something big one day, that I'm going to be telling all of my friends and my children one day and my family, like, my best friend started rodeo. Like, I do believe that. And I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And to end this,
Yes.
now I'm going to ask you what you ask your people that you speak to.
All of the creatives.
All of the creatives. The people that you speak to. All
So
of the
you're
creatives.
So you're taking a page from my book. Is that what you're doing?
I'm going to ask you the same question you asked them.
Okay, I'm not ready for these questions.
And question number 1 is, what is something that your followers on social media have no idea about you?
Maybe that everyone calls me Perper, and you already kind of spoiled the secret on that. I don't know. Maybe people might know that. Like, literally everyone in my life.
Do you guys call her Perper?
No.
Okay.
Libby does, though.
A little bit. Maybe behind my back she calls me it.
She is Perper. She is not Lindsay. Yeah. I don't know what.
No, I would actually say like something circling back to how you said that I'm extroverted. I do think that my personality comes off as very quirky, and like when I'm close to someone, I am like so open and like maybe gregarious is the right word. But I would say I'm pretty introverted, like more so on this side of the scale than on this side of the scale. And I'm shy. And I think that is, something that people like maybe sometimes misinterpret. It's not like something I want to like
I mean, they could definitely misinterpret that from your TikTok videos. That's for sure.
I know. It's like a mixed messaging.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, it's
Great answer.
okay.
Okay, so question number 2.
This is I'm not ready for this question, but say it.
But I already know my answer, but I will not be sharing that on this podcast. What's the email you dream of waking up to tomorrow?
Actually, I do know the answer to this. Do you know what I'm going to say?
I hope it's money.
Yeah, no, I think it would be someone reaching out being like, we're ready to lead the round. We're ready to lead your fundraise. Yeah, that's pretty much, hands down.
Answer.
Yeah, hands down the answer.
Good answer.
Well,
I love you.
but thank you for joining us.
I could keep asking you more questions.
I know. You have something to go to. I get it. No, I'm just kidding.
I love you.
Love
Perps.
you. Thank you for being like truly actually like one of our biggest supporters and recruiters of cool creators, investors, and I don't know, followers.
Life.
Yeah.
Love.
Also just being my best friend.
Cheesy.